For those of you who are just tuning in, like we mentioned, I'm here in Manila right now. Trina is actually in San Francisco. She's in the United States. And only recently did she come face to face with COVID-19, the virus itself. And it was really scary for Trina. I can't imagine what she would have felt like. It's really scary to find out and get tested that you have the virus. Luckily, we have Trina here to explain to us how it went through, how it felt, and how the difference maybe of the procedures they have there compared to what we have here in the Philippines. So Trina, can you tell us about that COVID-19 situation that you went through?
Yeah, sure. So about 3 weeks ago, I attended a basketball combine in Vegas. And prior to that, I was very cautious with everything that I was doing. I was always wearing a mask, always washing my hands, social distancing. So I think I did a pretty good job, or I thought I was doing a pretty good job. And then when I went to this camp, I spent 3 days with just a whole bunch of women just playing basketball. And a couple of days later, I started feeling sick, and I received news from one of my teammates that she tested positive for COVID. So when I started to feel symptoms, like it started with a fever, then a very bad headache, and what else? There was a sore throat, loss of appetite, and a lot of body aches. It was very nerve-wracking, and I really didn't know how to process everything that was going on, just because when you have come in contact with the virus, it just messes with your head. Like, you keep on thinking about all the tragic stories of COVID-19. You think, how, like what if I deteriorate all of a sudden? So it was a very rough week for me. I could tell you there was a lot of ups and downs with my mental state. There were days I was positive and I was like, okay, you know what? I'm going to be fine. I'm just going to take all these medicine, just rest, drink water. But there were days where it was just like, I don't want to do this anymore. Why did this happen to me? Just stuff like that. But it felt like a normal flu, honestly, just with added body aches. And what were you going to say?
When you were experiencing the body aches, what did they feel like? Did they feel like, you know when you train and then you come home and you're like, oh, my body aches, or was it the type of stuff that you really couldn't get out of bed?
For me, it felt like I worked out the whole day when I literally was just in bed the whole day. I was exhausted and my body just was like hurting and aching everywhere. And it's like, when you're working out and, like, for example, you do squats and you do like a really heavy squat workout, and then the next day you feel like you can't walk. It's just, you imagine that feeling, but all over your body. And it's just, for me, it was very hard to move around. So for almost a week, I was just in bed, 24 hours in bed, aside from going to the bathroom.
That's so scary. And how was the process like? So you got tested. Was testing there for free, or was it a drive-in, like one of those drive-through testing sites? How was it like?
This test, I scheduled it online, and I had to drive there, and I walked into basically a school that they're using as a COVID testing site, and it was free. But the only downside about that was that I was not able to get the results until 2 weeks after. So I was sick. So when I was sick, I just basically treated myself like I had COVID, just because my friend that I was in close contact with had COVID. So I treated myself like I was positive, and my family treated me as positive, and they did their best to stay away from me and wear a mask and disinfect literally everything and anything I could have possibly touched. And I was just in my room for a whole 2 weeks.
Yeah.
And eating meals alone.
Yeah, that's actually why you the last episode we had you actually had to miss it because it was because of that, really. And it's really amazing you're sharing this, because it's a really scary virus,
Yeah.
And like what you mentioned, you were very cautious. You washed your hands, you wore a mask, you didn't put your hands on your face or anything, and it still managed to get to you. And yeah, it's just weird. Can you recommend like any vitamins that you had taken, and then maybe the viewers could actually try and that into account as well?
This was just a regimen that my mom made me do. Obviously, I'm not like licensed or anything to give professional advice, so this is just a comment for me. But what helped a lot was that obviously I took Tylenol for my fever, but to help with my sore throat, I was drinking a lot of ginger tea with cinnamon. Mm-hmm. And it like burned, but it felt good. And then I was also taking a lot of organic multivitamins and taking, what else did I take? Aside from that, I also took vitamin D and vitamin B. Mm-hmm. And I was also taking probiotics for my stomach just in case. So I was on a lot of stuff, but yeah. That was the gist.
You're really trying to like fight it off, like please get out of me. You know what I mean? Times are really truly scary, and I'm glad that you're recovering so well. How have you been feeling now?
Oh, I've been feeling amazing. I've been starting to since I passed the 14-day quarantine mark, I've been able to go outside and at least go for a walk, but obviously with a mask on. I'm still cautious because we don't know much about this virus yet. So I don't know when I'm safe, quote unquote safe. So I've just still been wearing a mask and disinfecting everything that I touch.
That's true. Well, same thing in the Philippines. A lot of people, I have noticed a lot of my friends and family have been cautious as well. But it's just one of those things. I mean, how can you find your opponent if you can't even see them? So that's how the virus is. You don't know where it is. And same case for my sister, Yana. She did not experience any of the typical symptoms that you normally see in media. And I remember you talking about how you were thinking a lot about how the COVID is. It is really truly amplified by the media, and it's scary. It's just something that you wouldn't wish on yourself or on anyone.
Definitely.
And it's just crazy. Same reaction. My sister, she was always cautious. I was, the direction of the doctors were telling us that there's a different strain of COVID-19 that really attacks, instead of attacking your lungs that would normally cause like the flu and the pneumonia, it would attack the central nervous system, and then it would give out symptoms that basically caused ADEM. And then when she was first diagnosed, it was ADEM. So she was getting better. We were back and forth in the hospital, but for some reason, it just kept coming back, and we didn't know why. And COVID is just one of those things that it's a really mean virus. Like, it will trick you into thinking that everything is better, and then next thing you know, it's gone. Like, you know what I mean? That exactly what happened to my sister. The day before she passed, her vital stats were so good. Like, we were so confident that she was gonna get out of there, and then the next day, it just all of a sudden all her vital stats went down, which was really odd, because it was literally the day before that her doctors were telling us it was fine. So yeah, I guess that's really, thank you so much for sharing that, and for also like getting people more aware on what had happened to you. And I know it was something that you wanted to keep in privacy, but thank you so much for being brave and just being able to share that all with us. Yeah.
Thank you. One thing to take away from this for everyone that's listening, COVID is very, very, very real. Mm-hmm. And we are not invincible, no matter how young and how healthy you feel. This virus, yet I was blessed to be able to have the mild case. This virus can be mild, yet very deadly. So I just want to make sure everyone who's listening to this is aware And I just want everyone to keep wearing masks, keep washing their hands, and just keep social distancing and doing the things they need to do to keep themselves and their loved ones safe.
It's true.
Smart Sports, Tiebreaker Vodcast. She just knocked down a 3. She just scored the game-winning goal. So she did.